Hello and a warm welcome to Rupal's Chatty Women this Sunday. 15 minutes, 3 conversations, so make sure you stick around. Topics: is it okay to cry in public? Is it something you do? I want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. When it comes to dinner times, do you all sit and eat around the table, or do you all eat at separate times and really don't get to have a conversation with the family? Love your thoughts in the comment section, please. And mixed marriages, something we're going to be talking about on the show. If you are in a mixed marriage, what's it been like for you? What are the ups and downs? We'll be talking about that with my guests, who are...
Rabiha, Hanan. Do you want me to say a bit about myself?
Go for it.
Okay, so I trained as a pharmacist. I currently do lots of crazy things as well as pharmacy. A lot around sort of bridge building and learning about different people from different backgrounds, different communities, and creating understanding.
And
I'm Mrs. Helen Somaiya. I'm a financial advisor, married to the lovely Hanan, and we have 3 children, 3 boys.
okay, the mystery voice isn't here today. We have a technical operator. Say hello, technical operator.
Hello, technical operator.
There you go. Should we talk mixed marriages first?
Yeah, why not?
Rabiha,
Sounds good.
Helen?
Yeah.
I think we're all sort of involved in sort of mixed marriages, are we not?
We are.
Let's talk about the sort of understanding of mixed marriages first, Rabiha.
So what we're going to look at today. So I would probably not fit in the sort of usual different...
Let's talk about
Oh, I don't know. So I'm yeah, let's just talk about my case. Okay, so my parents are from a Pakistani background. My husband's parents are from a Bangladeshi background. And although it sort of seems that you would be culturally very similar, actually Bengali culture and Pakistani culture does have its differences. It has a different language. There's just different etiquettes and sort of cultural practices, I suppose, that sort of take place. So when initially we were getting married, or we were thinking about getting married, I think... our families did look at it with a little bit of apprehension because it was not the done thing. It wasn't
Not usual to them.
It's not usual to them, but also I think there was a sense of fear. That what does this difference mean? What can it? What sort of challenges will it bring you? And what was interesting was that more extended family had even more reservations about it. Oh my goodness, what will this? What does it say about us and who you're becoming? And are we diluting ourselves and our values? And it was quite an interesting reaction.
And diluting, I like that word because it's an interesting word. There's been lots of conversation recently about the royals, Meghan getting married and being part of the family, the royal family, and being from a completely different background, different race. It's going to change things and dilute the royal family. Do you think that's true in your case? Have you diluted your family values and the family that you've married into?
I think I've inherited a wonderful culture that I thrive to enjoy, and I think my children are highly more educated. The fact that we've got Hetan's background, we celebrate Diwali, and we do some traditional backgrounds as well. The food is wonderful, the etiquette values, and no, I think it's important that we just thrive in the opportunity to to keep our backgrounds alive, but to embrace the changes that being married to someone who you love, being from a different background to what your family are used to. I'd say you need to, in this world, put yourself first at times, and if you're in love with somebody, then whoever that might be, everyone's got to get on with that.
It's interesting. So we've got this verse in the Quran. So the Quran's a Muslim, so we haven't got that sort of interesting dynamic of different religions involved. But for us, it's sort of the cultural thing, and that was a big thing to even break down, I think. But we've got a verse in the Quran which says that God created you into nations and tribes so that you can get to know one another. So there's this whole idea that actually God has deliberately made you different, and it's not that out of mistake or a fault or an accident. It's actually because He wants you to realise there's so much that you can get out of being different. And I think that's what I hope that our relationship sort of demonstrates. It allows your children to see things in a much more broad-minded manner, and just sort of not sort of feel that actually look, it has to be done this way, because we both bring something different, I think, to it. It's all not always brilliant things that we bring to the table, but most of the time it's a huge amount of richness and a sense of valuing diversity and the ability to be able to hear the other. And I think that's a really important part of it.
I like that, yeah. Because I'm in a mixed marriage, the other half, Richard, hello, is white, and I'm Hindu. So I thought it was going to be a lot more difficult than it actually was or is, to be honest. And we kind of respect each other and we learn a lot from each other. And it's really interesting for him to learn about stuff that, are cultural ways and whether it's weddings or other
and
events.
the weddings are big.
Yeah.
The weddings are big.
So did your family struggle with it?
No, they didn't. Surprisingly, they didn't. Okay. I was expecting, a backlash, but I didn't get one. And it's been brilliant. We've had no issues whatsoever. So for us, it's been a really, really positive thing. And we respect each other. We have lots of fun. We take the mickey out of each other and things, and cultural things that we might do.
But you were saying before, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but you were saying before that you did say that you would never, as a younger person, you would never marry outside
of
the Asian,
you did say that
the Asian culture. Yeah, and it's true. I was growing up. I was always like, it's never going to happen because the people are completely different, and I had a different perception. I think of white people or people from other faiths or races. I was quite adamant that I wanted to stick to somebody from the same culture, same religion, for various reasons, but. Luckily my eyes were opened and things are.
It's interesting because I think our children are going through that now. When you're going through sort of school and college and you're coming across different cultures and different backgrounds ways and different backgrounds, different social backgrounds. And I think it's been interesting, especially for my older child who's now 18, and finding that actually rather than the colour and background of people, a lot of it, what she feels that she likes or doesn't like is about social status. So actually, if there's a group of people that are coming from a similar sort of social background to herself, where she feels that they have a value for things, that they're not, they're not so, they don't feel perhaps so protected, and smothered away from the difficulties, the real financial difficulties of the world. She finds that she can sort of connect with them sometimes better, and sometimes people that are more protected from that sort of side of things because they've never seen poverty, they've never seen difficulty. Sometimes have a way of thinking and behaving.
Mixed relationships, mixed marriages, something we're talking about in the programme. I love your thoughts, your comments on this. If you're watching, thank you for doing so. We've got loads of people watching, actually. Lee, hi Lee, says, well done to all the guests for getting here, because the weather's not brilliant today. It's been snowing. So Lee's watching. Lee. John Rockley, good to have you on board. Sook is also watching. She's made some comments. We'll talk about that in just a second. Lee also, by the way, says, how's the technical director's kite flying going? This is my husband was looking around here.
Beautiful kite.
I made him make a kite, and we tried to fly it and it didn't work because there was no wind. That's another story. Pravina is watching the programme as well. Thank you, Pravina. Hi, Priti. Good to have you watching as well. Suk, by the way, says, hello, ladies. I like the verse from the Quran. It encourages interaction.
Absolutely. So important.
Mina, thank you for watching, and Gajal, thank you also for watching. Sonal, thank you for tuning in. George, good to have you on board. Michaela as well, my sister-in-law, is watching. Hi, Michaela.
Hi, Michaela.
And Suk as well, talking about it's fine to cry in public. It's human nature. It's the topic that you had, didn't you, Rabia?
It's a topic that I have because of the fact that I've constantly been criticised all my life, and we were joking about it this morning because I can cry about absolutely anything, and and
I envy you.
And it can range from it can be about sad stuff, like a movie or something that I watch on TV, but it can also be about the happiest of things, and I can just be in tears. I do wear my heart on my sleeve. I always have, but it was something as I was growing up that I was teased for.
Do you have constant panda eyes? Do you wear waterproof mascara? How do you stop this run?
Something?
So, no, not at all. But
I just lack of sleep, all right.
Can I just say, I carry tissues everywhere.
Really? You're the same as me, aren't you?
You and I are exactly the same, but Helen, it's completely different
I
for you.
am different. I used to be able to cry at everything. The children at a performance of the Nativity.
Yes.
No, just can't cry. Just sits in my throat, and I have a bit of a and then just can't get the tears flowing. So I envy both of you.
So what? Because you said that you started in one place. What? So my mother would have loved that to happen to me. So she was, as a mother, you get a little bit protective because you sort of, and her thinking was, look, the world's harsh out there, and they will laugh at you, they will tease you. So how can I, toughen up, be stronger? And I think it's 10 times worse for blokes, sadly, because there's a perception of how men and boys are meant to behave, and man up, be you don't cry, you don't show your emotion.
Well, I've got 3 boys, and one of them is a real sensitive guy, and he will cry at anything, and that's lovely. It shows his emotion, that he really is soft. He's built like whatever, he's tough as whatever on the football pitch, but he does cry.
But would he do it in public, and would that be okay with you?
Yeah, it would, and he would be embarrassed, but he'd get over that fairly quickly.
But how would friends react? Well, what do you think peer pressure does to that sort of?
Yeah, well, they can see it's a positive. You can see a softer side in a tough lad who's got a lot to give the world and lots.
I wonder if
it's
changed though. I wonder if that whole
possibly
ability to be able to accept
knocks his ego possibly, and he wouldn't do it a lot of times.
Is there a space though, sort of in the outside world, where it's not acceptable, do you think, to cry, perhaps at work? I mean, my biggest thing is like, I've been to work meetings and things and burst into tears and it's so inappropriate, and I feel so silly and so stupid,
but
I've done it.
Thing?
No.
So
not necessarily.
You're frustrated.
Absolutely, but it's not an invite, because you want to look professional. Surely
Yeah.
you don't want to be crying, do you? It's not. I don't
know. So I've just learned to embrace it. I think my husband's played a key part in that embracement, because he was the first one that sort of sat me down and just sort of said, "Why do you
cry all the time?"
Well, no, actually, he could have said that. No, I think he realised by that point that actually there's no getting over it. This is who she is. But actually, he sort of said that. What's the problem with that? Because I think it's a reflection of having a soft heart, and that's a good thing. That's something. And I think giving me the space to be me actually has probably allowed me to sort of decipher my emotions and be able to control it better. So I do control it better. I was explaining before that one of my most embarrassing times, well, actually several of my most embarrassing times, is when I've been presenting to a public audience, and I cried and tried to control it. So you've got that sort of, that sort
lump
of lump
in your throat,
and that trembling sort of feeling, and then the inability to go on. So you're just, you want
how
the ground
authentic to show passion in what you believe so strongly about.
Is there a fine line, I wonder? Love your thoughts on this. Lee says, I'm all for showing emotion. In fact, one of my pet hates is that fake laughter that some people do. I find it patronising. If what I've said isn't fun, the person shouldn't laugh, in my opinion. Fair enough. Nidhi, good to have you on board. Thank you for watching. George, I forgot to mention you. Thanks for tuning in, George. I've mentioned loads of other people as well. Thank you so much so far for staying with us. One final topic then. Rupal Jobinputra, nice to have you on board. She's watching all the way from America.
Oh.
Hi, Rupal. Eating around the table. I have to admit, we've got this great coffee table this dining table that we bought. There's just the two of us, and we very rarely eat together, which is awful. We eat at separate times. That's the problem. We eat at separate times, and I don't want to wait until 9 o'clock to eat. So I sit watching the telly. On my chair on my little table that I've got, just that you can't see.
So it's not that you're not at home together.
We're at home together. We just don't eat very often together.
Really interesting.
What about you, Helen, with the family?
Yeah, I think it's important to have a bit of downtime. So busy lives, busy daytime. I work a lot in the evenings, so I tend to have dinner before I go out to work. So I'm generally with husband and children, catching up in the daytime. Otherwise, I don't know what's happening. I don't know whether they've been, having a great day or a bad day. And I think it's important to have that downtime, and that time at least once a day. If it's just breakfast for 5 minutes and grabbing a piece of toast, or it's your evening meal, I think it's really important. And when it doesn't happen, you think, God, I didn't catch up, I didn't touch base with them. It's probably mother instinct, but it's just important. And eating is in the Asian world, it's just what we do, and it's just what we love to do, and fantastic food. But it's also conversational time.
What about you? Do you do that with the family?
See, I absolutely believe in
all of that.
And I mean, I've got 4 kids, and when they're younger, it's much easier to do. So in theory, it's brilliant and it's so important. But then you get to an age where they're at college and they've got homework and they've got GCSEs and A levels, so their meal is almost finished before I've even sat at the table. So the thinking is there, because we've always done it. Everyone sort of sits around. I mean, sometimes we're busy with work, so it doesn't always happen. But the idea is that we all, get together, sit around the table and do it. I'm almost inevitably the one that sort of finishes in the kitchen last, because I've just got glasses to take or something. And it irritates my husband, because he sort of really wants us all to just sort of sit there. But always I will be the one that goes back and collects
sit back
the
down
sauces
again. What are you
and
doing
do this.
for?
So, but when I come down, often just more recently, there will be 1 or 2 children that have gone. Because, oh no, I've got a project to do, I've got an assignment to do, And so I get
See,
it, and
now
I
she
know
can't
it
leave
needs
the
to
table.
happen.
We have to say, you know, where are you
I need
going?
to- I think
No,
I
no,
need to
you
instill
need to
that.
ask to leave the table because we haven't quite finished our
I think we need to
nag
sort of go
or
back to
conversation
basics.
or light-hearted joke or
You
whatever.
see, it's really interesting because, like, me and the other half, we do talk. We spend most of our time talking in the kitchen for like an hour after he comes home from work, and then we kind of just do our own thing after that, you know.
So you don't need it in the same way as some
It
of
would
us
be
do.
lovely,
so
though.
we know that we've got crazy lives in a different sense, and therefore we won't necessarily see. Honestly, sometimes we are like ships passing.
Yeah.
the
Days
night.
can go and you think, is it Monday, is it Friday, where have we been this week?
Yeah.
And a lot of my friends say, oh, Helen, you're always out, you've been to so-and-so restaurant. Yeah, but we've actually sat down as a family, whether my mother-in-law's come along or our cousins have come along or we've had a conversation. So it's not just a meal, it's a social tool.
Hitesh, thank you for tuning in as well. Good to have you watching. Bina, thanks for tuning in as well. And she says, sitting around the table is so important to me. Before having my daughter, it allowed me to catch up with my husband and discuss our day, etc. Now we have our little girl. It's even more important because as she grows up, she'll learn it's family time. And as a result, she started talking a lot more compared to other children her age.
That's
That's really interesting. But you know what also is fascinating? So like as our children get older and we've got this sort of a different sense of chaos, I think, going on, is that actually the value that you have for your marital relationship as well. So often in that chaos, when we're sort of pulling in plates and dishes and all the rest of it, whatever, we don't actually get a chance. You know, we'll hear about the children's stories or whatever, you know, what's happened in their day, but we don't get a chance to talk. So the law's been quite good, where he's actually booked out, you know, mornings for us to go out and have breakfast together. Or
Great.
so it's another
brilliant.
table, you know, which is what I think you're
Yeah.
saying. You've got other, you
Get it
create
in the diary.
opportunities.
Book a coffee with your fella or a breakfast club somewhere. It's really important.
So
Just some downtime.
Are you listening? Are you listening, other half? Are you listening?
We'll make a kite together.
We
and try
made a
and fly
kite.
it in a-
We made a kite. We might try and fly it today. We are going to have to fly. One final comment, Asma, thank you. And Mike just tuned in as well. Asma Mia says, this is so nice. We're just sitting around the table right now having Sunday brunch.
Oh, that's so good.
Lots of noise and lots of banter. They had better... they had what? So the dishwasher after they finish. All right, what?
And before I get any snide
get
comments,
that,
I need to thank my husband because he's a fantastic cook. I don't do any. I can't cook, won't cook, and he does all the cooking.
We'll
I love
carry
to
on this.
eat it.
We're going to carry on this conversation behind the scenes.
Bye.
Bye.